What are the rules for en passant in chess? Have you ever wondered about that unique pawn capture called en passant? It might seem tricky at first, but once you grasp the rules, it becomes a fascinating part of the game. Let's break it down step by step. En passant is a special rule that applies when your opponent's pawn moves 2 squares forward from its starting position. This move must land right next to your pawn on the same rank. When this happens, your pawn has the chance to capture the opponent's pawn in passing. Now, here are the key conditions you need to know. First, the opponent's pawn must have just moved 2 squares forward. This means it has to land directly beside your pawn. Second, your pawn must be positioned correctly. If you are playing as white, your pawn should be on the 5th rank. If you are playing as black, it should be on the 4th rank. Next, timing is everything. You must capture en passant immediately on your very next move after your opponent's pawn advances 2 squares. If you miss that chance, the opportunity is lost forever. When you do capture en passant, your pawn moves diagonally forward to the square that the opponent's pawn passed over. This is the square directly behind the opponent's pawn, and you will remove the opponent's pawn from the board. It is important to note that this capture is unique because your pawn moves to an empty square, not to the square occupied by the captured pawn. Also, capturing en passant is optional. You do not have to capture, but if you choose to, it must be done right away. Understanding en passant helps maintain the balance of pawn structure on the board. It prevents pawns from bypassing enemy pawns by jumping to squares, which can be a strategic advantage. Knowing when and how to use this rule can significantly impact your game, especially in controlling the center and forming strong pawn chains. So, the next time you see an opponent's pawn leap forward, remember these rules of en passant. It could turn the tide of the game in your favor.